Yo guys, Falcon Fair, and I'm bringing you a deck build guide on Greystone. Now, the main reason why I first started off with him is because this game I found his default loadouts are pretty shitty. They're more or less not to do with how how his abilities actually work and so. He's a pretty cool character. I played him a little bit, as you can see from the Master Challenge. But let's get straight into the deck. Now here's my deck, 59, 34, 5, and this is kind of exactly how you want to kind of build him around. You want to keep him around 60% damage max. You want to kind of have a little bit of defense, about 35% max defense. You can go up to 40 as the floor that is, but nah, he's a bit too, doesn't need to be so tanky like that. And 5% utility, which is just, you not care about that. So if we look at Greystone's default loadouts, as you can see, comparing it to my one I've just made, you've got his right support. Greystone is flipping out support. He has no support abilities whatsoever, so ignore that. His fighter, whoops, sorry, skip that. His fighter deck is pretty good for damage, but then again it's not tanky enough, so it's not perfect, but it's still good. His tank, he is a great tank. Personally, that's it, period. He can't tank for the team, he can tank for himself. Meaning, as I said before, his abilities is nothing to do with anything about stuns, knockbacks or anything. All he does is just keep himself alive and then respawn and come back alive with his ultimate ability to do damage, and that's it. And his last deck, which is kind of close, this is kind of the one you want to go for. This is pretty good, 50 to 40 to 9, but I would say you want just a little bit more damage than that, just a little bit. So here's where it comes to my loadout. So if we head to there straight now, since I've made it already, it actually takes a long while. I tried filming and making the loadout and I spent probably 20 something minutes. I know I don't want to make the video that long, so I'm going to keep it nice for short. We're going to start off right at the top with our prime card. I've got the Centurion on. That, to be honest, you can change between the Warlord and Centurion. I find Centurion should be better because you want to be tanky damage. You know you got a lot of damage getting already. You got 100% damage bonus. That's more than enough to do damage, plus health. And thinking about your team as well with the roles you've already chosen, you more or less, you know, want to be more tankier and killing than more damage, but be easier to kill. So these two you can really choose between how you want to play. I would say to Centurion. Next we got our consumables. Now, ignoring the barrier token, this is rare passive, as you can see. Greystone natural stats, he has bad energy armor, so vulnerable to mages, which is why luckily I have this energy armor token, barrier token, which is rare. So if you don't have that, ignore it. I'm not sure how it works. I haven't actually used it in game. If it's not active, it doesn't say that it's a passive. So that's good for early to mid game whenever you need it at one cost, and you can remove that later on in the game. But early game, yep, I would suggest barrier token, bump juice, the harvester if you're going to be using that or not, and scout sword. Bump juice is just a normal potion, but if you, like I said, if you have a better one of any one of these four, you can replace. The only reason why I don't use the equipment upgrade harvester key is because I'd find that the upgrades for it are not what I want to kind of build Greystone into, so keep an eye out for that, especially with the ward ones as well. So I just kept the basics nice and cheap. Our first item we want to build is Amulet of the Varian. Health damage is straight up. Greystone, you want to be straight away a little bit tankier than the enemy. One-on-one, you pretty much kill anybody like that. You know, as long as they don't run or outplay you. You know what I mean? You got some damage in there, you got a lot of health. Looking at the item now, 200 bonus health for completing it with 6.5 damage, 100 health, and another 13 damage going into the upgrades. So this item is pretty balanced between health and damage. It's a really good recommendation to build first. And it's not too long, cost 1, cost 2. of the points that you can use, so it's pretty quick. That's the key thing about this game. You have to finish your first item as soon as possible. Next, I got the blast harness. Now, don't pay attention to this item. This is just the opportunity item to do with the easy game. For instance, if I just want to go more damage, if I have another tank on my team, I want to just go for more damage. You know, I want to get that attack speed going with the crit bonus. Next, we have the bright steel plate. Now, this item is for more to do with mid to late game. If there's a lot of physical damage going on the other enemy team, you want to build this with a little bit of crit chance in there, or focus on more armor. With the bonus being 22 for armor for completing items, so that's 44 straight in, with a 6% crit following the upgrades, 6% crit chance, 22 physical armor and 44 armor. So this item's pretty good, but mid to late game you want to use that as. Next we got Genesis Torch. Now this item is one, I would say my second to third item I would like to build. Mainly being you're not getting damage out of it apart from the physical pen, which actually is really good for mid to late game. So makes up for not having actual physical damage there. With you got energy armor and cooldown reduction. With the upgrades, energy armor 4-pointer, which is a lot. But like a reason why I did that for late game wise, Greystone has bad energy armor versus mages, so that's going to be a real good investment for late game. 7.5% cooldown reduction to go with the passive for completing item 2.5, and with another 2.5. I kind of added that wrong when I was thinking about this. So really I want to keep that cooldown reduction at 10%, so that's 5% already if I complete the item with a 7.5%. But I must have missed that while making this loadout, so I want to take that off and slap on a 5%. So that 5% combine it with the 2.5% makes 10%, so keep it nice and equal. So we've got the 44 energy armor as well with 88. You're going to be pretty good against mages. Now that I think about it, you know, we've got a lot of energy armor going, so if possible I might want to put a cooldown reduction into my spare upgrades, which I'll show you at the very end. Actually, I'll show you that now just so you don't get confused. If you head straight down to the bottom, these items here you can swap in and out whenever you like. So I'm actually going to get rid of that physical damage one and replace it with the cooldown reduction. At the moment I would include max movement speed, but I have 0 cards for that, so this loadout probably will be updated. I probably will keep updating each loadout as I unlock cards and kind of giving you the ins and outs of each one. So you just want to get normal, like I said before, that's 10% we got already. We might just put another 10% as an option to get 20% cooldown, which for some reason I can't find it. Oh, because it's not upgrades. Here we are. So if you don't have this, it's an uncommon upgrade, you might have it. If not, you can just swap it for a universal one, but you want to keep it there just for that item, so if in case you want 20% and you don't need so much energy armor in that match, depending on the mages you're versing against and how many there are. So I've looked at this item. Now we're going to look at Rust the Breaker. This item is super powerful. As you can see, I've got a free 19.5, which is going to cost a lot to build. This item is mainly for mid to late game. You've got physical pen as well. You're just going to build straight pure damage straight in for this. So I'll suggest this building this item mid to late game. Nothing too much to talk about there. Next we have the Spear of the Rune. Ignoring the struggle for that. We got 6.5 physical damage with a 3% crit chance on building this item. Then we want to go with the upgrades, 9% crit, 6% crit and 13 damage. So adding that all up, we got 6% crit following another 6%, that's 12%, following a 9, that's 21% crit. And the damage with a bit extra, so that will be 26 bonus damage. So this is going to be our only crit item. You want to build this probably third or fourth. we don't worry about too much crits, but I do believe that you want to have over 20% crit just to get enough in every 5 hits, because anything below that is going to be very rare. No point in building crit. So yeah, just came out of the game. We got next item, physical damage and attack speed. So this item is more or less the option of building slightly more damage than this loader actually is, or slightly less. So really, I think we do want to build this item, just at least one item with attack speed, just to get out there. 11, 16.5 and 16.5. So this is just to really kick it up. That's why I try to stick it all to one item with a bit of physical damage going on there as well. And lastly, we have our Pain Eater. So this is another optional item. It kind of works in and out of the loadout. While critically we want to gain 40% life still, so with this kind of tanky damage risk I'm going, and the ultimate bring yourself back to life, if I'm fighting one-on-one and I'm losing, I'll kind of chunk their health down a lot better with this item on, and at the same time be a bit more tankier with the health items I've got, straight 300s. Mainly for a late game, I thought that would be really good to have the extra 1,200 health. I have to add up there, plus 100 is 1,300. So you can imagine me just fighting just below 40% health, but my health is staying at that level because I'm putting out enough damage to heal myself back with. I'm bringing down the enemy to when I ultimate, then I'll come back, I'll be in an advantage point. And upgrades, as you can see, 44 energy armor, just in case I need a bit more energy armor in there. Necessarily, maybe, possibly I wouldn't. And I got a bit physical, I got a little bit of physical armor there as well, with a 10% cooldown reduction for that one item, as I showed you. So this loader overall is pretty awesome. It works out at the moment, but I'm looking to do loadouts on, I say loadouts, deck builds on many more characters in the game, and I'll constantly be updating into whatever new cards I get and find out new possible ways of using them. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's useful. This deck I made is useful for you. So if you like to see more in the future, then like and subscribe. I don't know how this is going to go. Paragon's a pretty-ish new game. It's not so new, but it's a PS4. And we'll see how this goes. So I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next video.